the top of my.
Silver on the side.
You got the cabin and then the front deck, and then the track.
Right.
So, well, I was sitting on the front deck of my tractor, just waiting. I don't know what I was waiting for. I don't know why I was there or anything. But I was on the beach, and here's this shore jungle like, and here comes a young guy, just wore out. You could tell he had been in battle, and had his rifle on a sling over his shoulder and was walking down there. And I look at him, and it's this guy that works at the Heights Theater that I used to know, but I didn't know his name.
Oh, yeah.
So I hollered, "Hey, Tex!" Tex, because probably a bunch of his Marine Corps guys called him Tex or something. But anyway, he looked up, and he saw me, and my gosh, he thought he had found his long-lost brother,
Oh, yeah.
And I jumped off of the tractor and gave him a hug and asked him where he was going and so on and so forth. And then I never saw him again.
Oh, wow.
Well, 2 or 3 years after I got out of the Marines, this close buddy of mine, that's another story, who was going to go into the Marines the same time I did, he joined the Navy because they weren't taking any 17-year-old Marines, and he was itchy to get in.
Yeah.
He joined the Navy. I waited for the Marine Corps. Well, when we get back, we're still close friends. And so when he decided to get married a long time before I did, and I was his best man. And the little girl, her name was Alicia. I remember that part of it. The little girl that was his wife's bridesmaid. I'm the, what do you call it?
Best man?
Best man, and she was a bridesmaid. So we were partners, And and she was real nice, real cute, and I started dating her. And one night I take her home, and she says, "Robert," she could see the lights. She said, "My folks are still up. Why don't you come in and meet them?" I said, "Sure, that's fine." So I go into the house, and over here, I walk into the dining room, and on the wall is a picture of a Marine. And who is it? The guy I saw on the beach. Years, 3 or 4 years before. I said, "Marcia, who is that?" She said, "That's my brother." I said, "Well, where is he now?" He was killed on Iwo Jima. And I said, "Well, I saw him on Guam." And she said, "You saw him on Guam?" I said, "Yeah." She said, because I knew him because he worked at the theater. I think I said that. But I didn't know his name. And so she called her parents out there, and they couldn't believe it. They had never heard from anybody who knew any of the circumstances. And I told them about the guy walking up and me hollering Tex and so forth. And
because you called him Tex because you didn't know his name, but you knew he was from Texas.
And he knew when I said Tex that that it was for him.
Yeah.
If I'd have said Joe or Bill, or he'd have kept on
But Tex
going.
was short for Texas, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
how old were you then? Like that's
like 18.
18.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And so when I got home, his family couldn't believe it. Really, they were so nice. And here's a guy that talked was the last person they know of that ever saw their son alive. It was big things have a lot of, like the war, have a lot of little things happen that seem insignificant, but how important they really were.
How they're all connected.
And to the family, that's important.
Yeah,
That, you
yeah.
know, one of the last persons to talk to him that they know of.
Well, yeah, they wanted. When I told them I had seen him, they wanted every detail, every. How was he? Was he okay? You know, did he talk all right? Was it, you know, how was he dressed? And everything I could tell them about him, they and of course I really didn't know him. I knew his face, and I knew him to say hi to him, and to see him in a place like that is just. It was a great experience. I sure as hell don't want to go through it again. I don't want any of my kids to have to go through it. But if you're lucky, like I was, well, I didn't tell you about running over the landmine with the Amtrak either, did I? We take our load up to the front lines, and coming back, there's a disabled Amtrak. So they had radioed in, I radioed in and told them I could take it, we could transfer the load and I could take it up to the front line. They said, yeah, great, do that. And I found the officer that was in charge, and he, so I want to get my tractor as close to his tractor as possible, because what he had was ammunition, and they come in boxes about like this, by this, by this, about 1,000 rounds of 30-06, if you can figure out how heavy they are. And so I'm out off my tractor and telling my crewman to drive, you know, come on up to get close to that one so we transfer the line. Well, he pulls up and everything's fine except he's too far. And I tell him, and I'm standing on top of the tractor, waving him over. So we're moving over, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and boom, the track hits a landmine. And I'm standing out on the front deck, just holding on to a grab handle. It blew me about 30 feet. It was yeah. See, you're you know, when you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was left up there, and landed right on my butt in a newly plowed garden, so it didn't hurt me a bit. Hurt my feelings like that, but it didn't hurt me, and I never.
Did the ammo get transferred and you get it up to the front line after that happened?
What?
Did the ammo still get transferred and you got to the front line after that happened?
No, my tractor was disabled. It blew the track off.
Oh, it did.
Blew the track off, bogie wheels off. It was a pretty powerful landmine, really. And so I don't mean.
Did any of the crew get injured when it happened?
No, it didn't. It didn't injure anybody in either vehicle.
Oh, that's good.
Fortunately.
Wow.
But
do you remember which battle that was in? Like,
where I'm thinking it was on Guam. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it was. It's,
how long of a time period was that? Those three battles. Like, I don't remember the history of it, but.
Well, I was only overseas. When I came home, I was 19. When I went overseas, I was 17. So it was 17, 18, and 19.
About 2
over
years.
2 years.
Over 2 years.
It was, yeah, I wrote them home that I was having fun and enjoying life. And I just got a free trip to Hawaii. And that was the only time going into Guam. There's a beach and there's a cliff here, like big old mound of dirt, and the land is high up this way. Well, and you got this beautiful landing beach, great, and this big little old hill right here. The Japs built a
Fort or something.
what do you call it? Anyway, they had a 77 millimeter gun in there.
Oh yeah, like a bunker kind of thing.
Huh?
A bunker.
Yeah. To protect that
The
beach, to
beach
keep
line.
us from coming in.
Mm.
Well, that day we were in the second wave for some reason. Very often I was first wave hit the beach.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in the second wave. And the first wave, this gun knocked out 7 out of 9 tractors. Well, of course, we got the word immediately, and we were told to go around this clump, going this way. So that's what we did without
Having any more vehicles damaged?
what?
No more vehicles were damaged when you went around.
No, not after that,
Right.
because
And that was in Guam.
see, I believe it was.
Yeah.
See, once they figured out where this gun was, the battleships could take care of it.
Oh yeah.
They could knock it out
The
of this.
missile loads.
Yeah, battleships or cruisers that are sitting out there 3 or 4 miles out, and they took it out. But I remember who was the officer that was on my was my
Commanding officer.
commanding officer at the time, right? His name is just a minute. I talked to his wife just a few months back. Got a nice little Christmas card from her. Lieutenant Best, B-E-S-T, I believe. Well, anyway, it was quite an experience.
Which 3 battles you were in? Which 3 battles? Iwo Jima, Guam, and
Iwo, Guam, and Okinawa.
was that the order in that they happened, or?
I'm
You don't
thinking
remember?
it was, but sometimes I read some things. It might have been Guam, Iwo, and Okinawa.
Okay.
But we finished up on Okinawa. We took Okinawa. That's a big island, and it was secure. That's the word. You know,
Capture.
when it's all yours. Okinawa was secured when the war ended. We were already training to go into Japan. I mean, they told us, they said, you know, we got to get this place in good shape, this organization in good shape. We've been fortunate so far, but
They started training.
we ain't seen anything yet. You
At
know.
Okinawa is where they started training. They put a base there.
Yeah,
Military base.
it was a tough one. Okinawa was, and because it was only 60, 80 miles from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't go to Japan. Thank goodness. They found out that when the 4th Amtrak was around, we better quit. I mean, that's not so, but that was the facts. That's what they did anyway.
Then you met Grandma. How old were you when you met Grandma?
Yes, I met your mother. I got home and I had opened this little soda water stand, and my mother kept running it, and we had moved the little. In the old days, they had drive-in gas stations that had just a little building out there. You bought your gas and went up and you paid your bill.
And your dad owned one, right? He owned a gas station, or like a store.
No, I just got the building, and that's set out there on the corner, and sold soda water out of it. And then they said, "Well, hey, Robert, why don't you get bread or something?" So I called a bread company and I got some bread. Then I started to go into wine gardens and buying things on sale and putting them up on my, like salt and things that people need. And anyway, where was I?
You met Grandma around that time that you opened that store?
No, now I'll tell you what it was. When I got home, I was, a friend of mine had a paper route of a boyhood friend, and he said, Robert, he said, if you'll take over one of these routes, in a month or two, you could go to work at the Chronicle as a district manager. That's a man that oversees 15 or 20 boys delivering routes.
Routes, right.
So I thought about it for a minute, and I said, well, I think I'll do it. And so the next day, the district manager came over to see me, and hired me right then, and I had this route. Well, I threw that route 1 month, and only made one collection on it because they had sent word for me to go into the office to talk to them about becoming a district manager, which is over 20 routes. I went in, and me and the circulation manager at the Chronicle, we hit it off just great. I had done a real good job on the carrier, so he wanted to put me out in a dumpy part of town. And I said, look, for the last few months, I've been working out here in this part of town. I've never been, I know that's the part of town I lived in, but I lived over here in the Heights, not out there. I said, I know all these streets, and I know all the stores that sell papers and all. I would much rather have this. Okay, Robert, you can have that. And so I got the district I wanted, and a week later, oh no, we would call in at night, in the evening, for complaints. Anyone who called in that they hadn't gotten a Chronicle, we would take them on it, because that was our district, that was our responsibility.
Oh.
And she, out of school, came right down the road and to the Chronicle building, and at 4:30 started answering the phone. Well, district was close into town, and I'd go in, and I walked in, and there was this beautiful girl. Who is that? I couldn't believe it. I fell in love with her the first time I saw her.
Aww.
And so I went, and I talked to her and so forth, and found out where she lived. And well, how do you get home at night? She said, well, I catch a bus. I said, well, I'll take you home tonight. Oh, okay. And so it developed that way. But it was an experience. I'll tell you, the whole thing. I haven't had any really bad situations. I've been in a lot of bad situations, but it didn't affect me badly. It's just my life has been good. I got a great memory of the Marine Corps, but the thing I'm really proud of is my family. I got 5 great kids and 6 grandkids.
Counting Ben?
Huh?
Counting Benjamin, yeah.
Yeah, counting little boy across the street from us. His dad and I were just. His dad was a doctor, and this was, of course, not many years ago. Really, 20 years ago, when when would Ben have been born?
Ben, I think, is 12 or 13. Yeah.
Anyway, they were there, and oh, okay. His mother, both of her parents had died. His father, both of his parents had died. The little boy didn't have any grandparents.
Right.
And but we were very close to
Mr. White, yeah, Mr. White was his
Dr.
grand.
White,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And we went over there one day and we said, we got a proposition. What's that? We don't think that Ben ought to live without any grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? We want to volunteer to be his grandparents. We want to adopt him as a grand. Okay, so they thought it was great too, and we've got a diploma. I mean,
a little
certificate
plaque, yeah,
of
certificate.
adoption.
Oh wow.
I mean, wasn't a legal
Right.
adoption, but he still comes to see us regularly, and
That's good.
He's really quiet. He doesn't talk a lot, but he's still a sweet boy.
yeah. Well,
He's at that like awkward teenage years.
his daddy was one of the finest guys I ever ran across, and was absolutely the best friend I ever had.
Mr. White?
Dr. White.
Dr. White.
Yeah, I got old Joe O'Brien over, and he is a good friend, but it doesn't anywhere compare to what.
And Mr. White just lived down the street from you guys in Spring Branch, right? And y'all
right
became good friends?
Directly across the street.
And that's how y'all became good friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure enough. His car is the only time I ever drove an automobile 100 miles an hour. He got this car, and it was a Buick, one of the big Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Buick?
That's a beauty.
It was a coupe,
Sleeper's car. Yeah.
and he kept wanting me to drive it. Take it out there and drive it. I want you to drive it. I said, how fast I can drive it? Well, you can drive it 100 miles an hour if you want to. So I went out on the Hempstead Highway, and I drove along it to see that there wasn't any cop station in the place. And then I had me about a 2 or 3 mile stretch. Got that son of a gun up to 100 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And just rolled and rolled and rolled at 100 miles an hour and scared the devil out of her.
Of course I
Yeah. And I rolled her back home, and I've never attempted it. I don't like to drive 90 miles. I like 60.
60's a good
And
mile.
that's the speed limit around most of the town, so.
Yeah. But it's
Well,
all those.
I want to do 200 before I die.
Yeah.
I want to do 200.
Yeah.
In a race car?
And any car.
Can you
200.
make 200 miles an hour in any car?
No,
Like not
any
standard car, yeah.
It'd have to be a pretty fast car.
I don't think will any of them go 200 except
there's-
special built.
Oh yeah, there's special built cars that will. Not anything really factory unless you're buying a Ferrari or something.
Mhm.
But I've done 144.
Well, I'll tell you, if something happens, you might as well kiss this world goodbye.
At 200 miles an hour, you got
Yeah.
that right.
Yeah.
How fast does NASCAR go?
They go up to 200 on some tracks. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well,
208. Sometimes some tracks 250.
I wouldn't begin to do it unless I had a place designed.
That's yes, like a racetrack or
Something,
a
yeah.
race built car with helmet and
Strapped in.
Strapped in, yeah, good protection.
You know, a defective tire. Or,
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything.
200 miles an hour, you're flipping and
Toast.
you may not be alive.
No, if I get on the highway, I will drive 70. But you know, I haven't driven in 8 or 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
I turned my driver's license in.
Yeah, you told me.
I made a wrong turn. I turned into the off
off
on
ramp.
the freeway.
Mhm.
You know, the off. I turned to head up there.
Because a lot of the feeder roads are weird
Right.
off of 290 when you get out here.
Fortunately, my wife realized what it was and screamed at me, and I didn't go 50 yards up there. And there was enough room. I just turned around and came back up. Well, that was one of them, and then I got what was the other thing I did? Something similar that I did simply because I'm getting old. I forget what it was now.
I'm a bad driver and I haven't gotten old. Not yet.
Well, no, I decided, I think one of my kids, I don't know which one, I don't care.
Not even a bathing suit.
Who that?
Aunt Marty.
Oh.
She kind of wearing a sports top with some shorts for her bathing
Oh.
suit.
Oh, I got 2 letters from the Department of Public Safety asking me to come in and talk to them. They have said, we have certain indications that we want to talk to you about your driver's license. Well, I still had a good driver's license, but, I ignored it. And I get another one, same thing. And I ignored it. So I'm out someplace and I run across a DPS guy. And I told him, I said, Department of Public Safety, they've sent me 2 letters to come and talk to them. And I said, I know if I go in there because I'm 85 years old, that they're going to tell me I can't drive anymore. So I reached in my pocket, got my driver's license. I said, can you accept my driver's license? He said, sure. That I am willingly turning in my driver's license to you? He said, sure. I said, take it. And I never got another letter from him. So he put
did
it
what he
through,
was
yeah.
supposed to do.
And I've driven on a public road only one time, and in a vehicle other than my tractor, and that's to go out, go down, and then go back into Patricia. You know, okay. That's the only time I've ever driven on a public road in a year or so. Pat drives everywhere. My wife.
Or Trish.
Or
Trish,
Trish, yeah.
yeah.
Or Patrick,
Uncle Pat.
Uncle Pat, yeah. Because I just don't drive anymore.
Mr. O'Brien, he doesn't drive anymore either, right?
Who?
Mr. O'Brien,
I
he
don't
decided.
think he does.
Yeah, he decided no
And
more.
he's my age. That's my old high school buddy. But I am the first one to admit, and that's the trouble. A lot of these old guys don't want to admit it. You know,
I wouldn't want to.
It's like your last thing you're holding on to. You don't want to give up.
Yeah. But think of what would happen if you run into a school bus.
Oh man.
You know,
Or a motorcycle or another car.
Or if, when I turned up this off ramp, suppose a school bus had been coming. What could have happened? You know, or any other kind of bus, or just a car, or a 3-wheeler that you ride with your knee.
That's a funny contraption she has there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice.
So start doing tricks on a little scooter.
She really helps us out.
Aunt Trish. Yeah.
Of course, she's not right now. Had her foot operated on, but she lives right next door to us. we can walk over her place with ease.
Or ride your golf cart,
Yeah.
souped up golf cart,
The
off-road
kids-
golf cart.
The kids gave me, all together, gave me
All-terrain golf cart.
yeah, no, it's Easy Go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, have you heard of Easy Go?
Yeah.
Okay, they gave me an Easy Go.
Yeah.
I had never seen one, and
The golf
they,
cart.
boy, what a thing to have around the ranch.
Oh, yeah.
You just go anywhere and everywhere.
Get lifted up with big tires.
Not
Yeah.
too big, but they're for good. They're
Well,
good
yeah,
tires. Yeah,
They're
not like Adam has, but
Mhm.
like they're definitely mud tires.
they really. I use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I use it to go to mailbox. I use it to go over to Patricia's house, and I'm not overweight.
Right.
Well, I see some of my sons, two of them, Tim and Grant. They got Dunlap disease. You know what that is?
Their belly's done lapped over their belt.
Dunlap over their belt.
Like a Dunlap tire.
And really, they don't. I've never been. Well, there was a time when I weighed 222 pounds. Right now, I weigh about 183. But when I weighed 222, I wasn't fat.
That's almost.
I mean, I'm bound to have some fat on me,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't done anything to lose weight. It's just that the one thing that I do is I try to eat. Well, I eat good. Plus, I eat the good things too, but I don't just sit there and eat all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I weighed. I think it was yesterday was I weigh every 2 or 3 days. Got a scale. I think it was 181 or 182. Easy. Don't turn over the candle.
It's because of those
Wait a minute, I'll help you.
I got it, Grandpa.
Oh. Don't use your brain, just use your foot. Huh?
There we go.
Well,
I'm gonna go back outside for a little while and sit in the
I
sun.
guess so. I don't know. I don't want to sit in here. Where's my wife?
They're probably outside.
Are they all out?